We're back at it again, bro. Guys listening, we want to apologize because it took us so long to get here. But we've been traveling, we've been working, we've been creating content, and now we're here. But I guess we can't do the same intro, so we're just going to keep it at the sac passe, right? Sac passe. What's going on, guys? My name is Alex.
And I'm Alan.
Welcome to the AMICY Theory channel.
Welcome.
You know the vibes. We're here for the best.
I got an eyeglass.
I know we need to, listen, we apologize. As we keep on making more content for this channel, we will start getting better outfits that involve us with
changing the scenery.
hats. I need to get a pipe. Oh, I'm gonna get a pipe that I can go like this. What do you think of this evidence, Alan? I need to go on Amazon and find myself a pipe.
And he's gone.
It's over. I'm gonna be in the rabbit hole. So today we got a beginner's guide to the fourth dimension. Turns out there's more than three. So we're here for it, guys. So without further ado, let's all know best here and hop in this video. Let's get popping.
Let's get it.
I'm here to learn.
We hear it all the time, that our world is three-dimensional.
Yes.
It makes sense after all. We can only define up to three directions, each at a right angle to each other, that don't interact with each other. No matter how far left or right you go, you won't move up.
I already lost. Look at this.
Alan's like
I
this.
look at the pencils. Okay, it's the intersection. No, okay.
So basically, there's only the three dimensions that I guess what we can see.
What you got, Alex? Go ahead.
Because he said.
I can't say you going. Yeah. So he said.
He said no matter how far left to go, like they never interact.
Yeah.
So,
all right, cool.
Hey, welcome to a school here.
Each other, that don't interact with each other.
Yeah.
No matter how far left or right you go, you won't move up at all. But the moment we try to add another dimension into the mix, it all breaks down. No matter how hard you try, in our three-dimensional universe, you can't lay out four or more directions that won't interact. Now I know what some people are thinking. Can we consider time a dimension? In simple terms, it does make sense. We can measure time and tell one point in time from another in a linear sense. 4 hours later is always 4 hours later, just like how 4 feet to the left is always 4 feet to the left. Heck, you could even make time act like a spatial dimension. Take a flipbook.
Okay.
Each frame of animation is a two-dimensional image, but by traveling through the 3D stack of these two-dimensional frames at a consistent rate, we can make time act like a spatial dimension, where height in the stack of 2D frames is the same as time between two events. In that sense, this 2D animation just became 3D, right? Not necessarily.
What? Fucking like this. These guys are dumb.
I'm sorry. Yes,
That's
I'll
fine.
be
We're
dumb.
here for it.
This is why. This is an
This
education.
is why I love this channel.
I'm like this, huh?
This guy.
So 3D. Okay.
But by traveling through the 3D stack of these two-dimensional frames at a consistent rate, we can make time act like a spatial dimension, where height in the stack of 2D frames is the same as time between two events. In that sense, this 2D animation just became 3D, right? Not necessarily. Just because time can match up with a spatial dimension doesn't mean that it is one. Notice how in the animation, time only moves one way, from the bottom of the stack to the top. But in regular 3D space, one can move either way, up or down. This doesn't mean it's wrong to imagine time as a spatial dimension, since it clearly can be done, but rather it's wrong to assume a spatial dimension and time are exactly the same. So now that that's cleared up, what would four-dimensional space be like? The easiest way to answer that question is actually to do the opposite. Rather than add a dimension in, let's take a dimension out. Try to picture what it would be like to live on the surface of a sheet of paper. You can no longer jump up or down off the paper, because up and down don't exist to you anymore. You can't look up off the paper either. All you can do is look forward across the paper. When you do look in front of you, you'll see a horizontal line, and in that line you'll see the edges of other 3D figures. Imagine a circle in a box. Clearly, to us, as three-dimensional beings, we can see the circle in the box, but to a two-dimensional being, the sides of the box would prevent anyone from seeing inside. Also consider that whenever something casts a shadow onto, say, a wall...
Okay, that kind of makes sense, though.
What does?
That part. Like, if you're living on the paper, the plane, you wouldn't be able to know that, like, we can clearly see that there's a freaking circle or a ball inside of the square. But if you're not, because it's like the 3D-dimensional.
Yes.
But if it's in 2D, you would literally, your sight of, like on sight would be the box. So you wouldn't be able to know there was something inside of it. All you would see is you just see the line. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So, like, it's like the thing where, like, if I put my finger right here, right? Like, I can know if I'm looking, like, from the different perspective that there's stuff back here.
Yes.
But if I'm in 2D, I'm only seeing things that are literally, so I'm only seeing this.
The front part.
Yeah.
Because it's right in front of you.
Exactly.
Okay.
But imagine that the whole world. You wouldn't know that there was something in there until you went in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also consider that whenever something casts a shadow onto, say, a wall, the shadow forms a line on the wall. Of course, to you, all the walls would be lines anyways,
Yep.
so you wouldn't really notice.
Yeah.
Let's bring that same situation into 3 dimensions. As you look around, all you can see are 2-dimensional objects, just like how even the box in 2 dimensions looked like nothing more than a line. Since you can only view it from one side at a time, the front of the box in 3 dimensions only looks like a square. Also, suppose the ball is still in the box. Now it's a sphere inside a cubic box. We still can't see it now because all of the sides are still covered. The shadow the box casts on the wall looks different. Instead of just being a line like before, now it's a flat 2D shape. If you wanted, you could even trace it onto paper and get a 2D drawing out of it. Here's where things get tricky.
Yeah.
Let's try to add a new dimension that we haven't ever seen before. Let's just dip our toe into the 4-dimensional water and use the differences between 2D and 3D space to determine what would happen in 4D space.
Jesus.
One of the first things you would notice if you looked in a 4D space is that you would see the world as a 3D shape, in a similar way to how you view a 3D world and can put it onto a 2D picture. But there's one catch. You can see all the sides of a shape. Remember how if you were to put a...
So it basically makes sense. It's kind of making sense in my mind.
So instead of it like how we... Okay, if he has something in the box right now, like how something's in this box, we could see outside the box, but for a dimension, you could see outside the box
You would
and
see
within
everything. So like right now, so there's a camera behind this thing right here. If I'm on this side looking at it, all I know is that there is a box here,
yeah.
but I don't know that there's anything behind it. So if it,
So you see through
you're
everything.
not really see through, you're just seeing everything, which is just crazy to think about.
It's crazy.
a circle in a 2D box, you could still see it looking down from above in 3D. Well, now in 4D, you can see every side of the 3D box when looking down on it, including seeing the ball inside. Are you freaked out yet? After you get over
My
the
heart's
bit of
beating
wonder
so
you
fast.
experience being able to see inside of the box, you might also notice that another 4D box is casting a shadow on the wall. And the shadow, it's a 3D shape. Yes, just like how 2D space has linear shadows, 3D space has 2D shadows. Here in 4D space, we have 3-dimensional shadows. What would one of these shadows look like? Here's an example. This is called a Tesseract, which is the shadow you would get
Low-key.
from casting light through a 4D cube. Notice how it's made of 2 cubes connected at the vertices, just like how you can draw a cube on paper from
Yeah.
2 squares and connecting the corners. Now the Tesseract looks weird enough sitting still, but watch what happens the moment you start rotating it. I'll give you a moment to clean up your mind, which is most likely at this point exploded.
What?
Yes, that's what the shadow of a 4D cube looks like when the cube rotates. Why does it do this, where the middle cube stretches out to become the outer cube? Let's take a look at the shadow of a 3D cube. First, note the 2 squares. One is smaller than the other because of perspective, making further objects appear smaller. But if you follow the small square, you'll see that it moves to the other side, before eventually moving to the front of the cube and becoming the big square. Now watch the Tesseract again. The little cube, because of 4D perspective, when rotated to be closer, becomes bigger, while the big cube rotates to be smaller. So just like in a 3D cube, where the big and little squares switch places, in a 4D cube, the big and little cubes will switch places.
Okay.
All in all, 4-dimensional space isn't all that bad. In fact, with the proper understanding of what will happen, one can devise some clever shapes that do things we can't even imagine doing in 3D space.
Right?
Ever hear of a Mobius Strip?
Nope.
It's a plane that, thanks to being bent around in 3D space, has only one side, because what would normally be the top and bottom sides are now connected, making them the same. Thanks to a little 4D trickery, a figure called a Klein bottle can exist, where the inside and outside are the same.
What?
Ever notice how you can mirror writing on a page by flipping it over? In 4D space, you can mirror a whole 3D object just by flipping it over 4-dimensionally. 4D space shows us what is arguably the best part about mathematics. It works regardless of your bias. In a previous video, I showed how we could use 2 digits to represent any value that 10 digits can. And in a similar way, just like how we can do any mathematical function possible in base 10 and base 36, We can have geometry that functions consistently, whether it has 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, or possibly even more.
Jesus. What? Bro,
You just
what?
left us hanging like
You can't
that?
just leave us like this. What a cliffhanger. Guys, that was a beginner's guide to a 4th dimension. That was a beginner's guide. We are done. If that was the
We're not
beginning,
gonna make it.
yo, this was... Bro, that's just so interesting.
How were we taught this in high school?
Because we had nothing. There's no... Bro,
There's no
way we're getting information in high school, bro. It's crazy. Yeah.
We're
Guys,
here working
things like these literally fascinate me and Alan. So
Yeah.
please put them in the comments so that we can actually watch them because we're here for it.
Bro,
what we're
now
gonna
my
say?
mind's like, what if we could be in the 4th dimension? Or what if we're in the alternate dimension?
We are technically. I feel like we're in the
You
Matrix.
think so?
We have to be. There's no way.
Alex
It's
is like the clouds. You know we can't talk about that. Hey, take that back.
Hey,
Cut that out.
Alan's trying to get us killed. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, but guys, listen. Please put the stuff in the comments for the because we actually go and read the comments for these videos because we're here for it.
Of course.
But please, subscribe to the channel so we get this
Click
growth
on
going. And in our old times, guys, don't cheat yourself.
Love thyself.
Jesus, and keep it AMICY. Peace.
I